KSR's Jack Pilgrim here once again at the Mattamy Athletics Center with Stephen Peak for another Kentucky basketball win. A really impressive one. What do we got? 104-92 against Team Africa. Stephen, an awesome game that saw Africa kind of cut things late down to 6, and then a 15-2 run kind of extends things again. We got a little bit of everything. We got Antonio Reeves going crazy for an event high 27 points. Reed Shepard and I believe DJ Wagner as well going for 18 apiece. Really, really good stuff offensively. I mean, when you go for 104 points in any high-level competition game, I mean, there's no way you can complain about that.
No, and I'm looking at the stats here. Antonio Reeves, 8 for 11 from 3. I felt like every time I was looking up, I was seeing Antonio Reeves celebrate a 3-point shot. When the game got down to 6, you and I talked before we came into the building today, and I was kind of saying, responding kind of to what Calipari said about them bringing 2 new guys. And I was like, Kentucky could probably use being challenged a little bit and seeing like when they need a bucket, who do they go to? And the game got down to 6. They go on what run was 15?
I think it's 15-2.
15-2 run. I mean, it went from a 6-point game with 4 minutes to go to an 18-point game with 1:30 to go. And I know they're playing with a 24-second shot clock, but man, this team plays fast. They're able to put up points in a hurry. They played probably the worst we've seen them play for the opening stretch of the second half, but then responded right away. And I know Sean Smith messaged both of us and said, when Reed comes in right here, it'll change the game. And I think it did.
It's just the way that Reed Shepard, just the pace that he plays with and the high basketball IQ, trying to find the windows. And he doesn't just impact scoring. He does things, Cal said after the game that he's going to lead the team in blocks this year. So his ability to attack on the perimeter, his ability to find open windows for, passes, for scores at the rim. He had that one where he came down the middle and went up, and I for a very brief second, I thought, oh my gosh, he's about to.
Is he going to try this?
He's going to take a body here in Toronto, and we're going to have to bail him out of jail, and it's going to be a whole thing. But he reverses up and just kind of finishes with a pretty roll. And it's
sweet.
He just does so many things at such a high level that there's no way he doesn't play. And
about the reverse layup he had?
Well, that was another one where he kind of went up, and I thought he was, again, there's a chance he was going to posterize somebody, but he went for the crafty finish instead. Reed Shepard, playing the one, especially today, was the best player on the basketball floor. Yes, Antonio Reeves, from a scoring perspective, he's 27 points. That does not shock me. 8 3-pointers. He is a tremendous. He's a professional bucket getter. But Reed Shepard was the best pure basketball player on the floor today, and I don't know how he doesn't play a high number of minutes this season per game. My initial expectations were 15-ish minutes per game. I don't know how he's not going to be a 25-plus minute per game player this year.
All right, now are we getting way too ahead of ourselves here? We mentioned it in the last show. We said that maybe he's not even a guy who stays at Kentucky for 4 years. I mean, this is the overreaction show right now because we've only seen him play 3 games. But what do you think about that?
I had heard just behind the scenes talk, asking pretty bluntly, just how long do you guys expect Reed Shepard to be a Kentucky Wildcat? And not a single answer I got was 4 years. Mm-hmm. Everybody just said, look, I mean, he has just come in and it's been look what he did in the second half when things kind of got rocky and they were trying different things with lineups. Reed Shepard entered the game and completely changed it for the better. I mean, that's who Reed Shepard is, and I would be absolutely stunned if he does not play a lot. But another guy who Cal also mentioned by name about, just from a winning perspective and what they had to do down the stretch to turn that 6-point lead into a 20-ish point. It got up to 20 again or whatever and finished at 12. But DJ Wagner just kind of took that game over, kind of put the team on his back and said, all right, I got this. And it's what we've talked about with DJ is that kind of alpha mentality. He's kind of just taking control of this locker room and said, all right, everybody else does individual things well, but I have the put my team on my back ability. And we got that for the first time, I think, where he kind of put the team on his back down the stretch and said, I'm going to go win this thing. And that's what he did.
It was like John Wall-esque. It's kind of what I thought. He had that 1-and-1 where he just single-handedly just kept working until he got into the lane and finished. And another guy, too, that, that played a big part in Kentucky, kind of being able to keep some distance was Trey Mitchell. Mm-hmm. He hit, as the game got close, he hit 2 big threes and he contested what would have been a layup that would have cut it to 4, I think. So, I mean, up and down. There was that one stretch And I don't know what happened kind of in that. That's probably the most negative we could really be, is just that 4-minute, 5-minute stretch to start the second half.
Yeah, the ball stuck, and I think that's pretty much what it boiled down to. Team Africa started making shots. They kind of started finding their rhythm. Their ball movement was impressive, and the ball kind of started sticking a little bit for Kentucky. I think that's when Reed Shepard came back in, and it started moving a little bit again, and we got more, of a well-rounded offensive approach, and that's what led to the run. And we heard from Cal. He said, going into this game, I thought there was a chance that they were going to come out completely flat, and they could have lost this game because they were out in the sun all day yesterday, swimming, hanging out at Drake's house, practicing at Drake's house, and that happens. These are kids. They're not, again, as Cal says all the time, they're not robots, but Cal was also absolutely in love with their ability to come out and kind of throw the first punch and keep throwing and keep throwing and keep throwing. And, they got some pushback there to start the second half. They got a cushiony lead and kind of took a step back there for a minute. They got the punch back, and then they finished the job. Like, they threw that haymaker back to finish that down the stretch, and that was the most impressive part of all of this. Yes, Antonio Reeves was awesome. DJ Reed, Trey Mitchell, they were all awesome. But that final stretch, the last 5 minutes of their ability to take that 6-point lead and extend it and really finish the job, that was what stood out for pretty much this whole weekend for me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that it's almost like they were toying with them a little bit. Let them get a little close. All right, now we'll blow this thing back open real fast. And in 2.5 minutes, it's back to 18 points. But, one of the things Cal talked about this week, and I don't know if it was the first night, second night, but he said that I have basketball players. This is what makes me excited. It's not that they've won all 3 of these games. It's the style that they're doing it with. It's that in years past, I feel like Kentucky's had some really good teams. They won a lot of games by out-athleting their opponents. You got guys who are tall that can, you got Willie Cauley-Stein, but Willie Cauley-Stein's an athlete. He's an okay basketball player, but his athleticism is what won Kentucky games. I feel like Cal says he has basketball players this year. I think you can kind of see that he has bucket getters. He's got guys who guys who can handle the ball like Reed Shepard, guys who can handle DJ Wagner. Go down the line. Who do you not trust to have the ball in their hands that have gotten the considerable minutes here today?
Not a single one. So you're 2-4. Well, 1-4 Adu Thero, clearly capable of beating you off the dribble and comfortable putting the ball on the floor as a driver and initiator and finisher at the rim. After the first game, John Calipari singled out Justin Edwards and said, I do not like him at the 4. And then today after the game, Cal said, I love Justin Edwards at the 4. So that was a big change of tone. However, if that's your 4, a guy who is an amazing initiator, an amazing fit, like that's what he's known for, is kind of using his length and athleticism to beat you off the dribble and finish. Like, if that's your 4-man and you have Antonio Reeves in there and you have Reed Shepard in there and you have DJ Wagner, all guys capable of taking games over themselves in their own ways, like, those are basketball players. Like, this is – Cal has always talked about positionless basketball and the emphasis there. We've gotten away from that, I think, in recent years. I think this is a true definition of, like, what position is Adu Thero going to play? Who cares? What position is Justin Edwards going to play this year? Who cares? Because the role they're going to play. That those are going to be guys that if they get a rebound, they're going to take it coast to coast. If they're, if they get it the right or left corner, they're going to go baseline and dunk it on your head. Like, they have defined roles without playing a defined position. And I think that's all that matters.
And let me just say, like, I had so much fun watching them in this tournament. This is the most fun I've had watching Kentucky play. Now, I mean, literally in a long time, it feels like. I mean, there have been the Auburn game, I think, last year. That was really fun, where they made a bunch of shots. Tennessee in 2022, but the style. This is what Kentucky fans have been asking for. This is so much fun. 35 3-point attempts. They made 40% of them. I mean, it helps when Antonio hits 8 by himself. But it's just so much fun. I actually as we were coming to the game today, I was so excited. I was more excited to watch the game today than any of the other games because of just what I've seen those first 2, and just seeing the style of play, seeing shots go in, and it's just fun. This is entertaining. There were bigger games last year that I was less excited about. I know when Drew and I went to Knoxville, Tennessee, I was just like, I do not need to watch a 60-54 grind it out, hold your breath on every possession. This is going to be so much fun this year. There's no way it won't be.
Well, Cal, after the first game, Kentucky shot 27 threes in that first game. And at that time, everybody was like, damn, look how many shots they're taking. And Cal said, this might be a team that takes 27 a game. And even then, everybody was like, yeah, whatever, Cal.
Right.
Good. Yeah, we'll see it we'll believe it when we see it. 30 against Team Canada in game 2, and then 35 again tonight. And in a game where Cal threw a 2-3 zone out there. There are some fans out there that have been saying that modern only offense, we need to get away from long twos, only threes and inside shots, and we need to run more zone, modern offense. Like those fans are celebrating tonight on this Saturday evening.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't think that the 2-3 zone defense really looked all that great. Cal said they had gone over it in the huddle.
He said he drew up that zone while he was sitting there. Like, they had not gone over any defensive schemes whatsoever. He just said, yeah, I'm going to just try to install this right now in the middle of International Basketball Showcase.
Yeah, and I want to know how much of this will transfer over into the regular season. Calipari said before the season last year, I want to shoot at least 25 threes per game, and they didn't end up shooting 25 threes per game. Now, they did shoot a lot at the beginning of the season, and I don't know if it was just the fact that they weren't hitting in those big games that Calipari kind of withdrew from that strategy a little bit. Is that kind of the case, or do you think that he just looked at the roster that he has this year from the 1 to the 5 spot, everybody looks comfortable shooting the ball?
And that's it. I mean, when you have Trey Mitchell got hot himself there in the second half, and he's your true 5-man on the roster right now. If you have that many pieces at every single position capable of knocking down shots, it's almost malpractice to not take that many. Maybe not 35. That's excessive and absolutely beautiful. I mean, when you make 35 of them and make 14 of them, I mean, just goodness gracious, it's fantastic. But it's a style of play thing. We have the dudes. It's what we talked about. Jerome Tang poked fun at Cal for we had the dudes and he didn't. Well, this is a team that clearly has dudes. He has dudes at every single position that can do a lot of different interesting, fun things. Yes, they may not all be great at one thing, but every single one of them is very, very good at everything. And I think that's kind of what's going to separate this team from most. Yeah, everybody talked about this recruiting class being bad, below average or average for most years from a most years perspective, but I think that's where they're all very, very good basketball players. Maybe not great at any one thing, but they're all very good at a lot of things.
Okay, can I take just a perspective that I have, and I could be way wrong, so I'm just going to kind of defer to you. It feels like Calipari's kind of selling us on this has always been what I wanted to do. This has always been my strategy. We just haven't had. Well, I do remember Karl Anthony Towns' parents said why can't he shoot threes? That's not what we do here. Is Calipari evolved? Which is one of the things the critics got after him for. Is he's not evolving, he's not changing, he's not adjusting to the game. He is kind of selling this as I've always done it this way. This is the positionless basketball that I've always wanted us to do. Is that accurate, or is he just trying to kind of is he trying to sell it to us that way as opposed to being able to say I might have been wrong?
I don't care.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, exactly. However you have to say it. Yeah.
However, whatever makes Cal happy, whatever makes him continue what's working right now.
Yeah.
If this has been the plan all along, man, salute. This is a blast. I'm loving the style of play. I'm loving the pieces, how they're working together. And that's not an easy thing to get this many moving parts this young at this stage. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but Trey Mitchell arrived 2.5 weeks ago.
Yes.
Dude. And his look at the chemistry that he's already developed in the give and go with DJ Wagner and his passing ability.
They played together for 4 years.
It really does feel like this group has been together for a really long time, and that's that is coaching.
He's done a great job of getting all these guys on the same page.
They are all. If you talk to each kid individually, they all say the same thing. We're unselfish. All we care about is winning games. Rob Dillingham was asked. Yes, Rob Dillingham did not have a great game. 2 points, 1 of 5 shooting, didn't play a whole lot. 12 minutes for Rob Dillingham. Said, yeah, I haven't played this little in a really, really long time. This is Rob Dillingham where the world has kind of revolved around him every single stop. And his press conference was so enjoyable because he was like, I don't really care. You know,
Seemed like a happy kid.
I was sitting here watching from the bench, and he's like, yes, did I want to be in the game? Of course. I'd be lying. Like, duh. Of course I'd want to be in. But I was able to watch Reed Shepard and DJ Wagner do their thing and thrive playing winning basketball. Like, why would I be upset about it? Like, he said that. He said, why would I be mad about that? What would I have to be mad about? So the buy-in is there, and that's something that has to be attributed to the coach. And yes, they're great kids, and that it takes the group to take that, but it also takes a coach to kind of teach those lessons and send that message out there so they can accept it. And I think they've all done a tremendous job of making that happen.
It does appear that Calipari has done an exceptional job so far in getting these guys to buy in. Buy into this. These are exhibition games. Now I know they want to win. They're taking it serious. These are exhibition games, preseason games, and guys are bought in. Everyone's up on the bench cheering for their teammates. He's done an exceptional job of that. It's been fun, and I hope it carries over. One more game, win a gold medal. When's the last time Kentucky's won a gold medal? We got to go. Are we going back to Adolph Rupp?
I think.
Wow.
I think that's the closest
Could be
we've
fun.
gotten. It's going to be a blast. You get the gold medal game. It's going to be either Team Germany or Team Canada. They play tonight. So we'll be following along, sitting here and seeing how it goes. Awesome performance for the Cats, 104-92 here at the Mattamy Athletic Center. It's been the KSR's Rapid Reaction.